morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture. Today, we are about to review. Give me one moment. I was running my mouth and didn't even put this up.
Are you starting over?
No, no, no.
She's like, no,
No,
no, no.
no, no, no. We are live.
Oh, hi.
I,
Hey.
I just forgot to put my
Hopefully,
little. So, we're
hopefully.
going to do a spoiler free recap of Magazine Dreams, starring Jonathan Majors, written by Elijah Bynum. I can't remember the two ladies' names. I got to get those names really quick.
Taylor, oh Lord.
Taylor Page, and I don't
Taylor
remember
Page. Yeah. And the other
as
one?
I don't remember her name.
Don't matter because they hardly in the movie anyway. But that's
Yeah,
spoiler free. That didn't spoil anything because I mean,
yeah, that didn't. So what we just got, I have Danny here because I'm going to be doing a spoiler review on Saturday. I've got a whole lineup of folks coming over to join me on this, so make sure that you all tune in on that one. So I got Danny here who couldn't join us on the Saturday, but she could join me today. So we're
I
gonna do a
might.
little.
It just depends, you know.
Oh, she might join us, y'all. She might
Might.
join
It
us.
just depends. So I figured it'd be less chaotic and calmer if me and Pam did it first. And then, we can join in the melee of 10, 15 people at a time trying to, jockey for position.
So anyway.
We
So So I saw it. Now, let me tell you I will tell you a couple of things in my route to go see Magazine Dreams. Okay. Number one, I went yesterday because I'm senior citizen. I get senior citizens discount now. So I decided that I'm going to go in the afternoon, yesterday afternoon, the first showing to go see it. And the first showing in the theater that was listed on the website, AMC website, was at 2:30. So I had planned to go at 2:30. I
Mhm.
get there at 2:30. They click my ticket in. I go in and I'm like, there's nobody here. And something should have clued me because some of the seats, I don't you can tell that no one has been in that particular theater for a while because
Mhm.
they still had the COVID protocol seats where one person can sit here and then somebody that can't sit here and another person can sit here. And so I'm looking around, but I don't say anything because I'm like, my seats didn't have the COVID protocol. So I go in and I sit down. So I'm there about 2:15. I get in, I got my popcorn, I got my stuff, and I'm sitting in there. And 2:30 comes in, and because usually what happens is during that time, the screen comes on and everything is just so I'm thinking, okay, they may be running behind because there must be some big movie with kids because all the kids were there. And so I was
Is it
like, well,
spring
maybe
break for you too?
it's spring break. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I was looking and I was like, okay, the kids are there. And so they probably, and I mean, when I tell you there were hordes and hordes of kids in the theater, there were hordes and hordes of kids. So I'm like, okay, so there is some kind of a kids movie that they're going to see. No problem. Well, 2:40 comes. My movie's not playing. So I'm like, what is going on? My movie is supposed to be playing.
So hold on. Wait. So you waited 25 minutes before asking any questions?
Because I'm thinking because the movie starts at 2:30, and
And then
so
it's like
2:40
20
came.
minutes of previews.
Yeah, and so I'm like, well, they need to start because so I get up and I go and I ask the guy who's because he's over there fumbling with all the stuff, and he says, "Well, I'll send somebody in there for you." I was like, "Okay, cool." The lady comes in, hey, like, why is you screaming at me? Because she's on the other side of the theater. She says, "Oh, well, these the early showings have been canceled, and then the next showing won't be until 8:30." I said, "Y'all took my money for 2 o'clock." And she said, and then okay, I'm still talking to her. They don't have it. She says, "Well, it hadn't arrived yet."
Oh, so they didn't get the real.
They don't have it. They
Oh,
didn't
play
get it
it.
to play it.
Oh, I don't know.
Take my money. Or why would you have it available? She says, "Well, I don't know. They had it available. You know, we're supposed to have it, and it was supposed to." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Because then I started thinking, Lord, they don't put the audio out. They don't put this now that they keeping the film.
Right. Okay. Like say what? And you in what? Birmingham, child?
I'm in Montgomery, so I'm like,
Montgomery, even worse. Isn't that where the white chair incident happened?
yes, yes, that's the Montgomery Bronx. And I'm
Child.
looking like, oh man. So I just remember I was like, yesterday was my nephew's birthday, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the eight something the show yesterday. I'm gonna do that. Well, I didn't go to the eight something show yesterday because I was having so much fun with my nephew.
Oh,
I
you
just went on and
stayed
got a ticket for this afternoon.
today.
So I went to a whole nother theater because I didn't want to be in there with no COVID protocol still in there. So I
Right.
went to a whole nother theater, another AMC theater, and then I was able to go see the movie.
Good.
Now, let me also tell you this, and I don't know if it's happening at your theater, but this is
Mm-hmm.
what I see in my theater. And I'm just giving the real. This is all my, this is all the information. I saw
Mm-hmm.
no poster of Magazine Dreams up.
Oh no, they have it outside,
No
before you go
poster.
in.
Both theaters, no posters. So I was like, okay, so I'll go inside. And sometimes as you go towards closer to the theater, there
Mm-hmm.
are posters. No posters for Magazine Dreams are up in my theater. Now it may
Mm-hmm.
not be for you all's, but in my theater there were no posters up. So I don't know if that was because they didn't get the reels in on time. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but even still, if you know, maybe the poster comes with the reels.
Maybe.
I
No, it
don't
shouldn't.
know.
No,
I
it
don't.
shouldn't. It shouldn't. All of that, in my opinion, this is my opinion. All of that should have been there.
It should have been. The reel should have been there as soon as the movie was announced, what day it was coming out. All of that should have been there. So I don't know. Maybe somebody just wasn't doing their job because that doesn't even make sense.
So,
Or it could be that that was one of the theaters that was added last. Because, for example, I could only go to AMC because those were the only theaters showing it in
mhm.
Tampa Bay. Regal had a couple, but they were well over an hour away, like out in St. Pete over that way.
Okay.
No other theaters other than AMC chiefly, and then a couple of Regals. My daughter DM'd me today on Instagram from all of 1,000 feet away because she couldn't just come tell me. That it was in the theater closest to our house, which is another brand called B&B. So
Okay.
I'm saying that to say that just happened because I purchased my ticket days ago and I started looking weeks ago,
Mhm.
and B&B didn't have it at all, not in upcoming, not in. So the B&B must have just got it today or late last night. So it could be that they're adding theaters as the ticket sales, because they've been selling tickets since a good 2 weeks before it dropped. And I know that I was told that that was what the goal was, to get as many advanced sale purchases as
Well, that's
possible so
what.
they
Yeah,
can put it
because
in
I bought
there.
my ticket once I understood it was coming, and you remember I remember I had said that I wanted to make sure that I got my ticket early and go to the earliest show. That's why I
Mhm.
purchased my ticket for that particular show because I wanted to do this yesterday so that we could go over the film
Right.
and we could do all of those different things. I wanted to be able to do all of those things, but that was my plight in my city of Montgomery, Alabama. So
That
if
was her
you,
surviving Magazine Dream story. Well, I
but
saw it yesterday.
yeah,
And,
I got out there and I went to go see it. And I'm gonna break it down in pros and cons for me.
mhm.
And then I will also talk about visually how it's all. So let me just do visually first. Visually, it gave me, I couldn't describe if it was going to be, did I freeze? I'm frozen.
Yeah, it
Why
looks
am I
like you're a little frozen, but you look sexy, girl.
child, I don't need back to stage. Okay. No, I'm still frozen. What is going
Well,
on?
now it's just, yeah, I don't see you at all.
Okay, hold on, y'all. Let me figure it out. Sometimes it just takes a because what you call it has gotten so many new things. Let me. Can you see that? Can we see that?
Yeah. Now you're
I'm
moving.
moving
So
here.
maybe just leave it like that for a little bit until it
This and see.
finishes buffering or
I'll keep
whatever.
it like this. We won't get so big. Yeah. So
Okay.
I will tell you visually as I saw it, when I first saw it and the style of dress, I don't know why I thought this was set back in the 1990s, 2000-ish kind of place. That was the visual.
That's what I thought
It
too.
was
But then he
kind of
said something
it
that,
wasn't.
mm-hmm.
He was online. He was on Google. He was online. He was in chat rooms, and that's not spoiling anything. But the visuals it gave me, the way the people were dressed, the way that they were looking, even the phone, and you've seen this on trailers. It gave me the situation like they were back in the early
Early
2000s.
2000s. Yeah.
But they made mention of 2016.
2016.
So
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it was set in 2016, but the dress and the style seemed a little earlier in that. And and and,
And
and
his
then I
car.
and yeah, because they had them old Caprice. What are those Caprice
Yeah, like
classic?
old cars, like those old
But
1989, 90,
he
yeah.
lives with an old person, so
Mhm. Maybe his
that was
pop's car,
probably
yeah.
is his car. So I will tell you visually, it was. Now, when it came to them being on stage and all the lights and the dark, all of that was giving me like the mood was changing. The mood was going to be because the mood was always first. It was awkward. And
Mhm.
what I mean by that, the protagonist is an awkward, uh, lonely young man whose only outlet is bodybuilding, and
Mhm.
he has a dream of being like his idol, uh, bodybuilding. Okay,
Mhm.
and that's what we're seeing. This is all of that's seeing. Plus, he is a caregiver. Now, you
Mhm.
have a lonely man who has an obsessive type dream that requires a whole lot of obsessive type stuff, and I'm just going to get back to that. And he's a caretaker, and he's got some childhood traumas that they
Mhm.
didn't really just dig into, but they let us know that there was a childhood trauma, and then you could see how
Mhm.
all those things. So it gave me that this young man, there was a childhood trauma, and then he was sent to live with older people, and
Mhm.
then I don't think that anybody thought to get him any help for the childhood treatment. He's probably had some issues that have happened because of the trauma, and
Mhm.
everyone looks at those issues and things as the precipitating action instead of a reaction to the stuff that was going on with him. Uh, and in
I want to go far enough, and I'm glad that I don't know if you saw the Sherry interview, but I'm glad she brought it up because I said it all along. I don't know. I think somebody else might have said it too. People that may have seen the movie. I didn't see the movie until yesterday, obviously, but I did read the script. Um, and even from reading the script, I said he's on the spectrum. And when I saw it yesterday, I said, "Oh, he's definitely on the spectrum." And
yes,
it's crazy because Sherry started crying on her show because she told him that she saw her son, because her son is
yeah,
on the
he's
spectrum.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She saw her son in that character, and she said the way he moves through the world reminds me of Jeffrey. And she started boohoo crying. It didn't last long, but she was crying for real.
Mhm.
Um, and so when she said that, I said, okay, I'm gonna put a pin in that because I thought it just from reading the script. I was like, yeah, this is my profession. I'm a provider for autistic adults now, but I also was an educator, a K-12 educator for autistic children and young adults. Because kids that are developmentally disabled, they can stay in high school until 21. So I've
Mhm.
had 21-year-olds in high school. All that to say, to piggyback on what you're saying, that I think is a precipitating factor.
Right.
That leads to the other behaviors, the obsessive compulsiveness, the socially awkwardness, the inability to articulate,
And
the
the
crashing out.
ability, the inability to read the room, because
The
he
inability
got
to read.
he couldn't read the room. And what was so sad, there was a social connection made, but because his inability to read the room and to look at visual cues to let him know that the
Something's
speak
wrong.
yeah, that something's wrong. By the
hmm
time he figured out something's wrong, I mean,
Yeah.
and it was that I was saddened by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, as Danny said, there's not that many people in the movie. There's a very few people in the movie, but I will tell you, there was one connection that Killian was just so desperate to have, and then when he made that connection, it literally broke my heart.
Yeah. That
It
messed me up. That messed me up.
it broke my heart
And I
because
feel like it even though in the script it played out exactly the same way for the most part, I think seeing it just felt too long. And I just
yeah.
was like, oh, come on. Can we move on? Can we move
Yeah,
on?
and I
Move
wish that
on.
to me, it just, I really wish there was a little build up to that. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is, I just wish if that connection that he wanted so badly, I wish he would have had gotten it a little bit early, and then we would have been able to see how, because he didn't have social cues, he didn't have the ability to see the things, we'd have really seen that, and I could have been screaming into the screen, Kelly, if you don't get your ass out. But I didn't have the opportunity to do it
But you don't get your ass gone.
yeah, if you don't get your ass,
Right.
because and for me, that broke my heart. And so everything that happened, I was looking forward for it to happen.
And it
Everything,
didn't happen. But
and it
then,
didn't. Yeah, it didn't happen. I was
yeah.
looking forward to all
Mhm.
of that buildup that we saw to happen. But I do think that they wanted to end on a level of hope, I
Mhm.
guess, some small level of hope for this character,
Mhm.
instead of the complete crash out, because he does crash out a couple of times in this movie. He does crash out,
Funny.
but
That was probably the funniest part of the movie. If
yeah,
if you It's a dark movie, just like a lot of people have said. If you're hyper emotional, if everybody has something with them, if you have mental health issues that you cannot necessarily indulge in like really depressing content without kind of going over the edge or
right,
teetering the line,
right.
I would recommend you either go with someone that can kind of rein you back in, or sit this one out until you could probably do it at home and take it in doses.
Yeah,
Um, because it is very dark.
it is very dark.
Um, and like Pam said, parts of it is very sad. So for me, because I'm always the type of person that I try to find a silver lining in things, or I try to reframe things so that they're a little better than what they really are. I feel like the part that kind of broke that depressingness of it wasn't really funny, but it was funny because it kind of broke that heaviness. Am I making
Yes.
sense, Pam?
Yes, it it it
It
it,
broke
it
the
wasn't a
heavy.
funny it wasn't a funny situation, but it was funny how if you watched it and played out. If you would have seen it in real time, you would have been mortified. But to see it
Me, I
play
probably would
out,
have laughed because of
yeah,
who they were doing it to, but
yeah. You
I probably would
saw
have
it,
joined in high key.
yeah. You saw what was going on, and I was like, mm-hmm. That's what you get. That's exactly what you
Mhm.
get. I don't even know
I
why you
literally
acting.
was hoping he would go the extra mile. I was kind of disappointed, but
I
it was
know.
funny in context of the unfunny stuff,
Yes, it was
if
unfunny.
that makes sense.
So
Um,
I will tell you again, if as Danny says, if you're someone whose constitution is not as strong, and a movie about uh, 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 obsessive behavior, if people who represent that they're on the on the spectrum in autism, um, having to care for older people, any of those things that causes for you to think, it may not be the movie for you, because it's gonna it's
trigger.
yes, and it
You're
stays
easily
there. It doesn't do this number right here. You know how movies go up and down? It stays right there. And it starts you
triggered.
off right here real intense, and it keeps you intense until you get that little levity right here. Even though it's still a bad situation, there's still a little levity back, and then it keeps you right here, and then
Mhm.
right at the end you feel a little
Like
that
finally, but then it's not enough. It's like, damn, can
yeah,
I get
it's like
5 more minutes of this relief?
yeah, I think there needed to be it needed something else over this way.
Hmm.
And I will tell you too, because I think this movie was 2 hours, 2 hours long. I
Solid,
think
right?
hmm,
It was 2 hours solid, wasn't it?
I think it's like 2 hours and 3 or 4 minutes, regardless. I I think if they there was a chunk of space in there that honestly I did not think that they needed. There was a chunk of space, I think maybe 5 or 10 minutes of stuff that I don't think that they needed, that they could have shortened this down to maybe like an hour and 40 minutes.
Hmm.
I think that there was just it was a because there were things that were missing. However, there were things, like I said, it kept you here, and you were trying to figure out, well, where the hell is he going? Why is he
Hmm.
going over here? Why is he not listening here? Because there were certain things I wish that, okay, so I'm gonna say it like this because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But this the second half, after that happened, and then he started preparing, uh looked like he was preparing for war. I wish that part would have been longer. The descent into that would have been longer versus the preparations for the bodybuilding and stuff like that. Understand, that part he had to look, he had his incident in there. But I
Hmm.
wish that played out a little bit longer. But like I said, you didn't need it to be that long. But I wish that portion would have played out longer than yes, I do too. I do too. There was at least what if could it could have ended. I mean, it could have ended uh, at the theater for me. That's all I'm gonna say. It,
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
I think that then we could have just it could have just gone into, you know headlines or whatever. I think it could have ended there, but so that is just my thing about the mood and the thing. So now let's get to my pros. I think Jonathan Majors acted his ass off.
Hmm.
I think that he did, because he basically carried the film.
The whole movie.
He carried the film. And when tell you, I believed all of those emotional ups and downs, and then even those stagnant emotions, I believed every last bit of it. Um, I loved the tenderness he had being a caretaker. I loved the how he was protective of his caretaker, but he went to the extreme.
Hmm.
I loved I what is the word? Get the words right, Pam. It was an expose of about loneliness, and that is something that I think that I will tell you, because I'm not a lonely person. So I live alone. I love being by myself, but to understand loneliness, I mean true loneliness, that was something that was shocking to me. Because
Hmm.
because people, because I've had a lot of people say, well, how you live by yourself and you do this and you go places by yourself, you don't be wanting nobody to go with you. I want people to go with me when I want people to go with me,
Exactly.
but I
Exactly.
have the ability to have people to go with me when I want them. It shocked me the levels of loneliness that this man had, to the point that he was when he did make a good social connection, or no, he was talking about his idol, about his time being wasted. And I'm like, boy, you are not really doing what you really want to be doing and how you want to do it. You want need a connection, but you don't know how to get that connection. And
Mhm.
you don't know how to get that connection. And that part right there for me, it made me stop and think. It made me stop and think about these incel characters, that
Yeah,
they
there you go. Incel. Perfect, perfect.
that's what it made me think about. And
Ish,
I was like,
ish.
ish,
Because
yeah,
incels tend to be sexually aggressive,
yeah.
right?
So right. And I looked at that and I was like, hmm, hmm. Not funny, haha, but funny like, damn.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm trying to think in my head, even in my upbringing, like, where did the disconnect come about how you can do? Because here's what I'm talking about, people. I am more so talking about, uh as human beings, we have the ability to make connections, good, bad, or indifferent. And I'm noticing that there is a good level, or almost a generation of people who have difficulty making connections. And I was trying to figure, and now I'm doing all this in the theater. I know I'm talking about that, but this is all going in my head as I'm watching the stuff.
Mhm.
Who could this person have talked to make connections? And he had a lot of stuff going on with him. He was the big dark-skinned black man that worked in the grocery store, and everybody was appeared to be afraid of him. They wouldn't talk to him.
Staring at them,
That
yeah.
they feared him. And I'm just sitting here, wow, wow. Just no connections, had no connections in that. And I'm just trying to figure in my head, because I was thinking, honestly, I was thinking, I hope people don't think that I'm like that. I haven't, because when I tell you I am so comfortable with being by myself, I'm
Yeah.
very comfortable with being by myself. But when I'm with people, I'm with people. I can carry
Right.
on a conversation. I can do all of these little different things. But it made me sit there and think like, hmm,
It's not the same though, Pam, because being alone and being lonely they are mutually exclusive.
I know.
You
But
can be
but the
alone and not be lonely. And I think he had both. He
Yes,
was
but there's a
alone
part
and
in there
lonely.
where you find there is a skill. What I guess what I'm trying to get to, there is a skill that is taught, and I can't remember. I couldn't tell you where that skill came from, or is it something innate in me that there's a that seems like it was missing. Because if you saw Killian Maddox walking down the street, way down the street, I'd been like, oh, okay. And then you got up on him, and it
You'd be
was
like,
like,
oh,
oh,
okay.
okay.
My spectrometer would go away
Yeah.
because
And
I'm
then
he's on
he
the
wouldn't,
spectrum.
yeah, and he wouldn't, and he didn't even he wouldn't have gotten the connection. And then the only thing that made me think about incels is it's like they think that once they come up to you and make if you say anything to them, now we need to go to the courthouse and get married and all this other stuff and live happily ever after. But you only know me 5 days. But anyway,
Right.
but anyway,
Hello.
uh,
But
let's. But that's pretty much what I have. What do you have, Danny?
yeah,
Tell me
I
what you
think
do.
I'm gonna piggyback off your loneliness thing because I feel like he may have said that or alluded to that, but it's definitely a social commentary on loneliness. It is. I feel like he mentioned something along that lines, but I don't think he really elaborated beyond, Um, I think that if you are an empathetic person and you're just naturally a person that gravitates toward the underdogs in society, like me, you spot it right away, and you just feel instant need to make them feel okay in any way, whether you're offering them a pack of gum, whether you're, oh, are you thirsty? Do you need this? Do you need that? And then you'll just move on. But you innately have this need to make them feel recognized, right? And I feel like this movie gives you a greater appreciation for, like Pam said, you see these people walking by in the street, and your instant reaction would be, oh, what a weirdo. Why are they so weird? Or why are they looking like that? Or why is she pacing back and forth? Or why is he rocking back and forth? Or why does it look like he's talking to himself? Mm-hmm. And that's literally the first thought we have without the empathetic component to it, right? Because I even do it myself. But because of my profession, I snap out of it almost as quickly. And I'm like, oh, they're probably, or this might be what it is. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, I'll just keep walking. But if something really draws me to that person, or I feel like there's something more than just them mumbling, I might just kind of like, oh, hey, how you doing? Have a good day. Or, do you need help with that? Or if I see they're looking for something, I might not be looking for it. But I'm like, oh, I think they have those there. Or why don't you try checking there? Like, just to kind of, I guess, and I'm not necessarily doing it on purpose. It's just something that happens. Make them feel seen. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I feel like in this movie, he was never, ever made to feel seen. Yeah. Everybody just always, that's a weirdo. Like, what is his problem? He was always met with some type of, whether it's ridicule, whether it's just people staring, whether it's fear, whether it's just never, ever, like she said, getting that connection. And even when he comes close, that's one part I did not like. I feel like, and forgive me, Jonathan, but I'm going to say it. I feel like despite it being almost exactly like the script, I don't think that it was well executed in terms of how quickly
it was over.
No, that scene went way too long for me, because it was really like, I literally was having a physical reaction. I was like, okay, I need them to get off this, because it was really making me sad and frustrated because of what I'm about to try to say next without a spoiler. I feel like that scene, it went long. I feel like it should have gone that long because it had to go that long. But I'm saying I didn't want it to go that long because it made me sad. I felt really, really bad. Like, I'm like, oh God.
I wish that there was before they went where they ended up. I wish that there was some buildup at the store more than what we saw.
And I wish that during that moment, there would have been more grace. Oh, shit. I probably shouldn't have said that. But if there would have been more, because
that's the only word for it.
I don't know that I'm right. I don't know another word for it that people would understand, and without me sounding pretentious. I feel like the aversion happened too fast. Like, if it was me or you, we would have been like, before, oh my God. You know what I mean? It went from, oh my God, like right away.
Charity, clemency, leniency, and mercy.
Mercy. Okay. I feel like there should have been more mercy shown. Or it's not mercy, more of a build up to the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It went from to, like, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, where's the in between where you're kind of like, oh,
right,
are you okay? Right. Like, most people would have been like, are you okay? Or slow down, or,
well, honestly, I thought that both of them were on a certain type of spectrum, because she was laughing. She was being very inappropriate to me when he was speaking. There,
right. She didn't connect.
She wasn't.
That both he was being serious.
And then when she realized that, I think it was more of embarrassment. I don't think she was thinking of him. I think she was more embarrassed with herself.
And so then, that's why it just escalated into, instead of kind of like
embarrassed. And then, when she saw how serious he was, She couldn't match that seriousness. She did not. She gave me too childlike to me, and I'll leave it at
Okay.
that.
No, thank you for that perspective because I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I know you can't be all there to go on a date with somebody like a Killian, but
Mhm.
I didn't necessarily peg her as being on a spectrum. I kind of pegged her as being kind of like, oh, I feel sorry for this dude. I'm just going to go.
No, I
Um,
don't think that at all. I think that I think she exhibited some things of loneliness, but she had a job where she can that she's able to display who she, she's able to talk to people because
yeah,
that's what was
hers is
drawn.
customer facing, right?
Yes, and she knew how to do that. But once she got into a situation, once she got into that situation, like I said, she was inappropriate too because she was giggling when you shouldn't be
You
giggling.
shouldn't be giggling, right?
And so now you got two people that who are awkward socially trying to be out there doing something, and none of their emotions were matching. And like
Yeah,
I said,
right. They were kind of like ships passing in the night, like
yeah, it's just like this. And like I said,
yeah.
she gave me, this is what she gave me. She gave me sheltered type person,
hmm
because kind of sheltered, not really. And then when she can't handle something, she runs.
hmm
She couldn't handle something that she runs. And that would be, and let me, you said she played him. I think what it was to me, she didn't have that skill set to be able to come back and say, I don't think I want to do this. She just took off.
And that right.
She didn't have
Um,
that skill set. So I'm not
I
trying
mean,
to spoil the
I
movie.
get that because they I mean, we're taught as women, but I feel like it didn't match that scenario. But
Mm-mm.
we're taught as women, if you feel uncomfortable on a date, bounce. So
Mm-hmm.
I got that part. I didn't get why it escalated so quickly, and no, there was no in between, like kind of like, yo, you need to chill or calm down or relax or fall back a little bit. It's all good. It ain't that serious. Or, well, why are you doing that? Why don't you pace yourself? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She just instantly, like, it was like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
So
It
that
was.
kind of,
And it's sad
and
because,
yeah.
that type of moment will last forever. And again, I'm going back to incelish behavior. That
hmm
moment, you'll keep that particular moment on your head for
And keep
15
replaying
years.
it.
I keep
hmm
playing in your head over and over and over again. And just let it go. Now for ladies, your incel moments is you're going to be running trying to put sugar in tanks and all kinds of different things, playing it over in your head and running up to the house and playing knock knock and running, or doing some
Yeah,
crazy
putting
mess
air
like that.
tags
So
in their trunks, stuff
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. So that's what came to my head.
Flipping an air tag in the glove compartment.
Exactly. Just doing way too much. But but
Yeah,
that made me sad. That made me sad. So
yeah, it made me really sad.
what is something, because I think we talked about our pros and some of the things. What was something about the movie, without spoiling it, that just kind of rubbed you the wrong way or you didn't like?
I did not like Brad at all. Um, at all. I get that's an essential part of the film. Obviously, you'll know why. I mean, for the obvious reason of all the way leading up to the worst of it, he was a complete asshole. Um, Not sure if I can give him full asshole privileges because at the end of the day, he was, I guess, a celebrity that never met this guy before. So it's not like, if you already know the person and you've met them before, then you kind of sort of have an obligation to entertain them to an extent. But because he had never ever met him and he was writing him almost every day, I'm guessing, yeah, I'll give him 50% asshole for that. But I did not like that dynamic at all. And I feel like that too escalated a little too quickly. For it to be a 2-hour movie, I think that, like you said, there was about 20 minutes of filler. I feel like they could have developed that a little more. They could have developed a couple of the female co-star roles a little more. Give them an extra 5 minutes apiece. Give each thing an extra 5 minutes, and just make sure you get the most bang for your $5. In terms of developing those characters more. Mm-hmm. I feel like there could have been, somebody said they liked the therapist. I did too, but I'm pro therapy. I think there could have been a little more with that. You could have been a little more, maybe just one more scene with her. One more scene where she got a little deeper. Like I said, the scene that I thought was funny, that definitely should have stayed. Only thing I could have a complaint about is I feel like it should have went a little further, in my opinion. Because I'm like, considering the offense, yeah, you would have been stretched out if it was me. And if I was there in that diner, overhearing what led to that encounter, I probably would have participated. That's just how I am. That's just how I am. I'd have been like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's popping over here? I'd have handled the woman. So
I would have had.
That's just me, though. Again, that underdog thing. Whenever something's going on in the public, and if it's a safe situation, I ain't got to worry about nobody getting killed. I'm always going to advocate for the underdog. Why are you talking to them like that? I had to do that in February at the airport at JFK. Dude hollering and screaming at the lady at the gate, and I tuned him up real nice. The pilot stood there and let me do it. The gate agent let me do it. I told him he wasn't getting on that plane. They pulled him off to the side. I wasn't playing. I think we lost Pam. But
no, I'm still here.
Oh, you still there? My point is, that's just how I'm wired. If it's safe and nobody's going to get harmed, I'm going to jump in. Tag me in, because we're not going to have anybody over here being mistreated or abused or, you know what I mean, hurt for no reason. And in this case, he was within his rights at that point.
All right. I will tell you the two things that I did not like. That was one of that I feel like that was a natural progression for what he had to do. I think that was just a natural progression for me. And so I was like, yeah, I thought he was going to start. I thought he was going to do a little bit more than what he did, but that's fine.
I wanted him to do more than what he did.
Here is what I did not like. He had someone mentioned about the therapist, and the therapist was doing her best.
Didn't it look like she was about to cry?
Yes, because I think, you know, as I'm talking with you today, I think that she has been working with him since he was a child. She seems like she's been working with him for a very long time. So she understands what he's been through, but she, you know, is trying hard to get him through. But here's what I think. When we were talking about connections, I really, really wish that he had a good connection with his family member. Mm-hmm. But I really wish he would have had and he had the therapist. But I really wish, even though it would have been transactional, I really wish that the Taylor Page's of character, and that's where I wanted to have a little bit more, have them on screen a little bit more. I really wish that there would have been a connection, even if it would have just been transactional, a little bit more connection.
Right.
Just for touch reasons, just, you know, because he walks through life and he didn't seem like people touched him. Mm-hmm. You know, didn't give him any type of assurance or anything like that. And I really wish that would have had. And I was upset with the fact that I thought that was going to be
the moment. And then
I
thought it was another one that kind of escalated, because I'm like, we getting there. Dude gonna relieve some pressure. He gonna be good. He gonna be able to just, you know, chill out, because he done got about 30 years of jizz backed up in there. He gonna get it out.
I thought that there was going
to be. And then it was like, nope.
I thought that there was going to be, and that part bothered me.
That bothered me a lot, and that's why I was like, we needed another scene,
We needed,
another
yeah, and that's why I was talking
5 minutes.
about it was 2 hours, but you
Mhm,
had so much going on. You had some things could have been cut out, but
mhm,
that particular scene, that particular relationship, I really wish it would have been a little longer,
mhm.
because I would have thought, and I'm just thinking like thing, I would have wanted that her character to be the one to that he would go to and
Right.
get him off the cliff. I hope that that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
the thing that bothered me. I really would have wanted to see some type of connection there.
Right,
Uh,
because you can see she empathized with him. You can see it
yes,
in her face that she was like, "Oh yeah, this is a special one." But you know what I mean? I'm gonna do what I gotta do. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because I
because
even
you,
told my husband, I was like, I don't know how people can be hoes on the street because that dude, I would have kept going. Ain't no way in hell I'd have got in your car. So the idea that she did, and then she started, empathizing. Um,
well, they say that they are the first therapist.
Clearly, because she had no fear. I'd have been scared for my damn life. I'd be like, oh, this dude probably gonna cut me
You
up
know,
in 900 damn pieces. This might be my last night, so let me charge a little more.
yeah, you know.
Cause yeah,
So that was the one thing that was the one thing I did not like. I also So I did not like the fact that like the women characters didn't have a longer role. I didn't like the fact that the movie lasted as long as it did. It did not need the fillers. If you were gonna do if we were gonna push this out through, you didn't need those couple of fillers that I saw in there. I don't think that you needed those. It would have been great. I didn't like the ending.
no, damn.
I didn't like the ending.
I want y'all to know.
I didn't like the ending because and here's why. You had me here almost to the
I
depths
was
of,
ready. I'm like, you know what? Go
you
hard and go
know,
home.
I don't care nothing about Michelle Obama. If they go low, I was ready for you to go to hell.
Yep, I was ready for you to go to hell because at that point there was nowhere else to go. You were already, you know what I'm saying?
I was
I was ready for that. I literally told my
I
husband, I said yes. I said
I
yes.
was
And then I
ready
was
for
like,
him to
oh, come
go
on,
to
man.
hell.
I was like, are you serious? But that's me.
I
I'm alpha. I have an alpha personality. So, I'm
I
always
was
ready to go
ready. And I think that's what shook me because I was like,
in.
but I understand that, a lot of times when movies are that heavy, you don't want, you want to end with some type of hope or something like that. But y'all, I was ready to go to hell. I was ready to go to hell. I wanted it to go to hell, and it didn't go to hell. I
Because it's like we went through all this. You put me through all this emotional
Woo,
turmoil. Somebody got to
mhm.
die. God damn it.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't mean to put that up there. I didn't mean to put that
Huh?
up there. I
What?
didn't mean to put what William put up there because I don't want to spoil anything. I'm trying to
Oh,
be
got you.
I don't want to spoil
Um,
anything. But yeah, I just wish that I that theater scene was the hope.
right. Brown sugar. Exactly. I was like, oh, fine. And
I wish,
don't
yeah,
get it
I
twisted.
did,
We
but
are not at all encouraging people to do crazy shit because they got shitty lives. Not at all.
not at
But in
all.
the context of the movie, we felt like that probably would have been his poetic justice. Let's put it
Right,
that way.
right,
Not that because you ain't got your shit together, you should just be going out doing stuff to people. Absolutely
right.
not. So let's make that disclaimer right now so nobody will blame us if they decide they want to go off the
But
cliff
also
somewhere.
too, that's why that relationship, even though it would have been transactional, because even if that would have happened, there would have been somebody there to tell a story.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because
Right.
and I know you saw it in the trailer, they talk about, him wanting to be famous. There should have been a storyteller, in my opinion, other than Killian.
I
I
see what
think that somebody should have been telling that story. So even if it would have gone low, that
you
person would have said, Oh, if you only knew the man that I knew. You know,
Mm,
he
I
was
see what you're
this.
saying.
Yeah,
Right.
he had I that was the only thing because like I said, I was even expecting to see her, her walk up. I was expecting to see her walk up in the yard or something, or there was going to be another way that you saw this person, but it was just
Um,
like,
or alternatively, okay, wipe all that other stuff we said. I feel like the only connection he had didn't connect. I get the dude was sick. I get Pops was sick. I totally get all that. But there was no conversation. There was no paternal guidance.
there wasn't going to be, because I couldn't tell you if now they did not tell us if he was his maternal or paternal
Right.
grandparent.
They just said he went
And
to go.
so I think that you wouldn't have gotten that, because with me working with kids in foster care, and having worked with kids whose parents have pruned each other from the timeline, and then they're having to go live with a grandparent, or for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, or if that parent goes to jail or anything, there isn't that much conversation because of the fact that the parent is trying to deal with their feelings and stuff, what's going on with the situation. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we'll say, children are resilient,
No, they're not. That's the
but
biggest
children are
lie.
but they're not. And when you don't have these types of conversations with them, with appropriate people,
Mm-hmm.
and all this other, if you don't have those types of conversations with them, you're talking about someone who's dealing with a trauma, and like you said, also being a little on the spectrum, and also having to now deal with taking care of, where that person may have been your caregiver, now you're having to take care of them. You're going to therapy for all of this stuff. It's a
Mm-hmm.
For someone with the best cognitive situation, that's a lot. And
It's a
so I
lot.
think that that's where that was. And plus, he's an older black man, looked like he was born in the 40s. He wasn't going to talk about nothing like that.
That's right. He could have been in his late 50s, but he was just so raggedy.
You just no.
He was
Well, he's
sick.
older than that, because he said he was in a war that happened in the late 60s, early 70s. So he was,
Vietnam.
yeah.
So he
So
would
he was
be
older than
in
that.
his 70s, right?
Yeah.
Early to late 70s.
Yeah, so he
Um,
no, he wasn't going to there wasn't going to be that much that wasn't going to be that much kind of conversation like that, cuz
but
that
nothing like, how was your
they
day?
listen to
What you
me.
do today? Only thing happened
Listen,
was when he was making
nothing.
all that damn noise, and he was like, "Will you stop
Nothing.
that shit?"
Yeah. Well, he had to, because my father was a Vietnam vet, and
Mhm.
you couldn't have all that popping noise or
Yeah,
anything like
yeah,
that. My
because
dad would,
they got shell
yeah,
shock.
yeah, my
Mhm,
dad would have fits. Now we didn't know that's what was going on, but he would.
mhm.
He didn't like to hear you, because I know me and my brother would be back there laughing on the TV, laughing and giggling and scream. Scream. I'm always talking about screaming at the TV, because we would scream at the TV. Don't do that.
Mhm.
My dad would be like, "What the hell is all that noise back there? What
Right,
y'all
y'all
doing?"
shut the hell up. Yeah,
Oh no, he didn't have that. Well,
yeah.
Danny, that's all I got, because we're at a smooth hour. Is there
A
anything else you want
smooth
to?
hour.
Smooth hour.
No, that's it. Like I said, we both agreed that there should have been a little more character development with the two female actresses in the movie. I still feel like Pops could have did a little more, said a little more maybe. And the ending, yeah, I think something, because somebody said the ending was surprising, and I just was like, was it? I was waiting for some like and then it
Yeah,
was like,
I was looking for Crash Out. I ain't gonna hold you. I was looking for
yeah.
Crash Out.
And I feel like it would have been justified under the
Yeah,
circumstances
I was
because
looking for
again,
Crash
there
Out.
were no connections ever made, and the
Yeah,
one literal connection that was made was not a good one.
right.
Um,
So you
yeah.
all that are still here, if you have watched the movie, so let me just give you my overall thing. Go see the movie. I went to go see the movie. I'll go see the movie again because I always watch it twice, especially movies that are heavy like this, because I know that I probably missed something that I did not see. So I'm definitely going to go see it again. Uh, I would tell you to go see the movie, but if you did not join me at the beginning of this stream, number one, please take notice of the fact in your theater of whether or not that you saw a poster. I did not see a poster
Ah,
shown.
okay, I meant to tell you that. Yeah.
So if you all go and if you want to, this is this is not anything that anybody may, but make note if you do that. And also if you buy your ticket, if you can pre-purchase your ticket, because I know in my state they do a lot of things strange when it looks like people are coming up in there, because you'll go buy a ticket, because now you have to buy your tickets at the counter. So you could buy your ticket at the counter, and we used to have this problem a long time until people started complaining. And then when you were able to buy your tickets, because you could buy your ticket to Magazine Dreams and you'll have your thing saying, either on your phone or get your stub. But a lot of times, if there's a lot of people in line, they'll give you your ticket or whatever, and you'll go in and then you'll come back out, and your ticket says Jurassic Park. So
What?
I don't know if they're big with how they're doing it now, but just make sure you check your ticket to make sure that it says Magazine Dreams before you leave out of there.
Oh, that's
But
oh,
good,
I didn't mean to say I did see the poster outside on the
good,
actual building wall. At
good,
the actual theater, I was in number 17. The marquee did not say the name, and there was no poster outside of in the
good,
hallway.
good.
So yeah, there was one outside though
Yeah.
before you got in the
My
actual
theater
building.
did not, there was no poster shown. I didn't see a poster up. And then because usually if you don't see a poster, because I have two theaters here and both of them have a whole lot of different movies and things like that. And so when you go, if you don't see the poster outside, a lot of times as you're going towards the theater, you'll see the poster going towards the theater. And
Mhm.
in the one that I went to, because I went to the first one and they didn't even have the
The real.
they didn't even have the real already. So,
I'm
but
thinking of
I did
posters.
get my money back from that. I did get my money
Oh,
back.
good.
But I was just saying they didn't have it in there. But that's just something that I noticed as me going in my theaters. But again, like I said, they probably didn't have all the whoever it was, because and in all fairness, now that I think about it, a couple of them, they still had posters up outside from movies that had been out of the theater about 2 or 3 months. So that just tells me whoever was working in the theater wasn't doing the job
Have
that
a
they needed to
home
do.
that particular location. Yeah, they
Yeah.
just slacking.
But but I've always found out that if it happens in one location, it could be happening in another. So just
Oh,
pay attention to that. And I'm glad to hear that it was just my location.
well, I
Good.
mean, if it is other locations, say something.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
the end of
So
the day, a lot of people, especially people that just go to the movies just to go because they just like watching movies no matter
right.
what it is, if there's no poster there, they won't even be prompted to go see it. So I would say, I ain't trying to get y'all out here picketing and protesting,
No,
but if if
we're
you're
arrested.
if you're a true fan and you really do truly enjoy the movie and you notice that the poster's not there and you have 5 minutes of free time, I would ask to speak to the manager and be like, yo, where's the poster? Because nobody's going to notice it's here if they don't sit on social media all day. If they don't, because it's not on TV commercials. It's not on, you know what I mean? It's only really on social media. So, if it's just an older person that's just going to a matinee and they're like, I don't know what I want to see, and the poster's not there, that's not even an option for them, right? So I would say something if you don't see it anywhere, even not outside or inside.
Right. So like I said, if you saw the movie, put a 1 if you liked the movie, put a 2 if you did not like the movie.
Nothing in the middle?
You can put
Oh, I got
you can
okay.
put a 1 but
All
a
right.
2
Okay. Well, then we won butts too, because we didn't butted our asses this whole hour.
yeah. But I will tell you again, Jonathan Majors did a really good job in this movie. I can see why there is Oscar buzz when this movie was first shown at Sundance. I can definitely see that. I think he's in the window for Oscar. So it'll be interesting to see if they.
November cut off. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if they promote this, if this film, because you know, listen, there are films that only that played in 1,000 theaters and only 1,500 people saw the movie, and they were able to get Oscar buzz, and then they make their money on the back because people are buying the DVDs or seeing whatever.
Yeah, because I don't think that ticket sales have anything to do with Oscar. Because most of the independents that win were barely even in the movies. I never heard of Moonlight before they won the Oscar. I don't remember even seeing it.
And if nobody had said anything, they wouldn't have known that they won the
right.
Oscar.
Exactly. So a lot of the independents are not big ticket sales. It's I guess some underground group of people that decide they're Oscar worthy, but whatever, they better.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate y'all coming here. Now, make sure you come to my Saturday show because we're going to be spoiling it all. Everything is going to be spoiled up, down,
so
around
hurry
the
up
corner.
and go see it between now and Saturday night.
Yeah. So make sure you make sure you come back to that. I have it already listed in my on my page. And I may go back. I may go purchase StreamYard for the month just so that you all can because I didn't think about the fact that you all streaming to your
to our respective channels.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. So I apologize for that.
And I shared it as a post, and then I shared it in Twitter. So I mean, however many people in here, they'll see it eventually. But that's fine. You know me, I'm not a content creator. I don't care. I just wanted people to be able to see that you were on there. You know, the way we normally do it.
Right.
But I might. Did you send me the link for Saturday? Is that in Twitter or?
Yeah, it's in Twitter, and I can send it. I can send it in text if you need.
Send it in text, and then I'll pin it. And then somebody's asking what time tomorrow.
On Saturday, it's going to be at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m.
time, boo.
Well, baby, listen.
Well, I gotta leave. Okay. So in that case, I will come because then I have a hard stop time of 4:00 because I got to go to church. So that'll work because then I know I got to leave at 4.
That's fine.
And go to church because my daughter does the photography over there, and the service starts at 5. So that'll work. I won't get stuck because that was my only fear too. I'm like, Lord, this is going to turn into a 4-hour stream. I can't do it. I cannot.
It does. But I usually try to. Chill has influenced me to keep up with the time. So
yeah, he's
tomorrow. I don't look
on the time, and he'll keep interrupting. Yeah. All right, we like 30 minutes in. Like, calm down, bye. You can go.
Yeah.
You can go
we'll do because like I said, hey, we're gonna be spoiling it. Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna spoil it up, down, around. I didn't want to spoil this. I just want to let you know going to the theater, the stuff that I saw when I went into the theater, stuff or the posters that I didn't see in the theater, and me going yesterday to see the movie and it wasn't ready for me to be seen, and my little COVID protocols and all that other stuff still.
Like, damn, y'all 5 years late, but okay.
I mean, you can still tell it's still going on. But that particular theater, I guess they hadn't used it. They didn't use it because usually when I go into that particular theater, everything's to the right. We hardly ever go to the left. And so I went to the left, and it wasn't nothing because I've done the left before. But that particular theater, it was like they still had them up. They never took them down. So that tells me that they never used that theater.
That theater just seems like they just don't. Nobody's on their job. They probably don't sell a lot of tickets.
So yeah,
because it's like
but the block because they're IMAX. They're IMAX theaters, the IMAX theaters that they have, and the 3D theaters that they have, they're all to the right. And so these are just regular digital.
Okay.
Yeah, these are just regular digital theaters.
Really
so nobody goes over that way. So yeah, when I saw when I saw the plastic on the thing, and I was like, this is COVID protocol still in here. What's going on? And then when it didn't start on time, I was like, okay, now wait a minute.
Like, come on now, stop playing. What's going on here?
Wait a minute. What is going on? But anyway. Y'all,
I
thank
think
you.
I'm going to go see it again. It won't be tomorrow though. But now that
No,
I
it's
know,
not gonna be. It's not gonna be tomorrow. I think.
I mean,
Like I said, it Monday or Tuesday because matinee will be in full
matinee
swing.
day.
Yes,
Mhm.
they'll be in
And it's
full
at the
swing.
theater that I actually like to go to. But they
Exactly.
didn't have it yesterday. And I was like, I have to see it Thursday. I don't want to wait till Friday.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
yeah, I'm going to go to the B&B. The B&B is really nice. It's like
Is
a
it?
dine-in. They have like a mezzanine. It's really nice. I don't get the
Oh,
food, but I like the environment.
the environment, yeah.
It's so
Because the one
old.
that the one that I was at, that's the theater where they cook you some good food and
Yeah, they cook
you
you
got a good
food.
drink or two. And
Mhm.
like I said, I'd ate the food and got the drink and I'd have slept through the movie. I wouldn't have seen nothing because I can't be eating. I can eat a little popcorn or something like that, but I can't like sit. They're doing hamburgers and
Yeah,
and and
I don't. I generally speaking, I don't eat while I'm watching movies
mm-mm,
anyway.
yeah.
So it's just like I'm just doing that just to be a glut because it's there. No, I just like the seats. I like the seating. I like that mezzanine
Yeah,
vibe.
because they
Yeah.
recline. They
It
just, they
reminds me
sit.
of being home in my
Yeah,
own.
yeah, 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 yeah. All right, people.
Yeah.
We do this every week. Again, please come back tomorrow. We're gonna be spoiling it. I have so far. Blue, are you gonna be there tomorrow? Because I have She Dreads Me who's coming by. I have Marcus from Back of the Bus coming by. I think I have Dre Matt coming by. And I have Lily. I don't know if Lily is gonna come on screen or is she
Lily
gonna be in the
Brush.
chat. Yes. I don't know if she's gonna come on screen or be in the thing, but she says she was gonna swing by and try to do some stuff. So it's just gonna be a little host of us going over the movie. We'll spoil it tomorrow because that's gonna be
It's
Saturday.
gonna spoil. So anybody that hasn't seen it yet, just don't watch. Because we telling it all. And I want to elaborate more on the stuff that me and you talked about because
Yeah,
I'm still really frustrated by that one scene that literally almost made me cry. I
I
felt like
know.
throwing my damn crock at the screen. I
Mm,
was so mad. I'm like, are you
mm,
kidding me?
mm, mm.
But
All right, people. We do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye. And I will see you tomorrow. Let me find, hold on, y'all. Yeah. Bye-bye.
bye.